I apologize. It went a little bit longer, and it seems you all left the door open while we were out because it's freezing in here.
No, they can't turn the air on.
No, I know. That's because I called them, because you guys were all sweating. So now that I need a motion to convene.
So moved. Second.
Roll call vote, Vicki?
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
Really?
Okay. There was no action to be taken. Do I need to discuss? I don't need, obviously I can't discuss the litigation. Okay. Moving forward, we do have public comment on agenda items, so there is public comment on agenda items only. Mr. Monitor, you know the drill?
Yes.
Okay. Please do.
Get this machine on. No, it's not. I just talk loud. I'm Joe Miner. I live at 392 South Main Street, Phillipsburg. The budget. I still believe an honest budget that meets the demands of the new landlord-tenant ordinance and supplements the clerk needs an additional $400,000. I estimated the cost of an inspection at $100. Ms. DiGeronimo stated to me that she estimated the cost at $10. I asked Mr. Ellis what his estimate was. He said $100. My estimate is based on Mr. Duddy's testimony that he scheduled 7 inspections per inspector per day. Also, my tenancy inspection last week took approximately 1 hour. Mr. DiGeronimo's estimate was based on an inspection of Heckman House using photographs, which I found unbelievable. My counter to Mr. McVeigh, having an independent inspector on the cheap on a highly corruptible function, will require oversight. Oversight from the inspection department will be as expensive as letting the inspector do the inspection. I asked Mr. Morlow his view of the budgeted inspection cost per certificate of habitability. Namely, how often will there be a need for extra inspection? He was not asked, nor did he supply input to that portion of the budget. My best guess is a number between 2 and 3 inspections. Also, Mr. Duddy stated he needs 2.5 people just to keep up with the present requirements. Under the new code, I went from 2 linked inspections every 5 years to likely 2 linked inspections in order to pass each year. As to the clerk's needs, she is overwhelmed and needs more than the half person included in the budget. The result of approving this underestimated budget will be a continuation of 2 present systemic problems. Inspections will not be done and council information will not be processed.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Meyer. Is there anyone else?
Okay, my name is Rachel Kleiner. I live at 318 Ohio Avenue. My comments are in regard to the passing of the budget. This item was on the agenda of last week's work session, and since it's here tonight, it could obviously not previously be passed. However, kudos to Councilman Davis for taking the time out of his busy schedule just to double check that the meeting of May 8th was properly advertised in the municipal building. I'll come back to that in a second. It has been previously stated here by a certain gentleman regarding the legacy of this council. Whether its legacy shall be one of strife and discord or whether it shall be one of progress and teamwork. I would like to remind everyone of a simple lesson: to practice what you preach. Since it was stated at the May 8th meeting that it was seen on Monday, which would have been May 7th, the improper advertisement of the work session and therefore action could not be taken, this can only be seen as a blitz attack, declaration of war, or even sabotage. If there was an effort for teamwork and said party was in the building on May 7th, it would have saved time and even the efforts of the May 8th work session by coming to let Clerk Kleiner know, or even giving a quick call or text to another council member. Even if something had been said on the Monday, action still could not have been taken, just the same as it was not taken at the May 8th meeting. Clerk Kleiner was at the clerk's conference the week before said meeting and was out of town. She was there taking classes for a job that requires constant education. Her education and abilities have constantly been called into question by certain people, and it seems a low blow to troll her in such a deliberate way. Indeed, I would ask which legacy this council wish to leave. Perhaps we should all think about practicing what we so passionately preach, and not only when it works for our faith.
Thank you for your comments. Okay, is there anyone else?
Bobby, hold on, somebody back
Oh, sure.
in the corner.
Let me get up there.
That's okay, please take your time. This is for the agenda items, correct?
This is for the budget?
Yes, please. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay.
I always want this.
No, I just want to make sure.
Hi, my name is Doris Stinson. For those of you who don't know, my great-grandma and Bobby's great-grandma actually knew each other back in Bridgewater in the 1940s. So I live at 1041 Bridge Street in Phillipsburg. I hate to say this, but I think you're missing something in the budget. I want to know why the police department doesn't have the taser with the video camera on it. I want to know why the police don't have body cams ordered. I want to know why there isn't constantly running dashboard cams on those police vehicles. Because, you know, you hit a police officer, you're going to jail. But when it goes the other way, it's all the police officers against you. And I hate to say, you know, I had an incident almost 2 months ago. And all I kept thinking of, this cop is going to kill me, just like he did Thomas Reed, okay? I mean, we need tasers, and we also need body cams. We need our police officers to be responsible to us citizens, too. You know, that Thomas Reed thing should have never happened. And there's only 5 people who know what went on. The 3 police officers. Thomas Reed is dead now, and God, but he hasn't exactly told us what went wrong. So maybe he's letting us figure it out.
So the comment, and I don't disagree with regard to the, but I believe there's training involved. I'm not a police officer, so I can't pretend to know.
There are actually 4 officers who are trained, but they have to get the taser that has the video recording on it, according to New Jersey state law. I talked to Todd Tersicki about this when he was council president.
I will defer to Councilman McVeigh, who is the liaison for the police department, because unfortunately I am not qualified to answer.
Assistant, thank you for your comments. I'm very familiar with tasers. I was on board with the state police when we got the approval for the New Jersey Attorney General's office, and there is extensive training that comes with that because of how the device is used and how it can do above and beyond what it does. Also, I lived through the consent decree as a field operations trooper, dealing directly with the Attorney General's office and a lot of federal government oversight. With that being said, that oversight, the word oversight, coming down to our superintendent of state police, and that was mandated, the federal consent decree upon us. If the mayor would choose to say, I would like to somehow get, you know, upon recommendation of the police chief or Chief Stetner's staff, that's something that they would look into internally. Something probably that would only become as a suggestion to council to the chief via the mayor's office. That decision would be between the mayor and the police chief, and it comes at a very high cost. The caution, but it does have its advantageous, you know, conduits such as for litigation and things of that nature. So with that being said, it is something I support because I lived through it. It does come at a very high cost with the oversight of the video, the Attorney General's guidelines and all that comes with that. I believe local departments in New Jersey are falling in line with that. The Attorney General New Jersey has not mandated that to every single police department. To an opinion, I like it, but it does come with a lot of cost and it does come with a lot of training. More importantly, it comes from internally to move forward with something like that? And something that the council really cannot approve or only can only recommend?
The police will never agree to wearing body cams. It will have to be forced on them. It will.
Well, like I said, that would either come from the mayor, the chief, or if the town someday ever got a public safety director that would oversee,
it will
the
never
police department,
happen.
fire, and EMS, that person could recommend that through the mayor's office.
But you know what? We do have a high percentage of people here on disability or with a mental illness who are coming out of institutions, whatever. They're sick, they're ODing. It could have been any one of our kids, our relatives, who's ODing, gets the Narcan, comes out, hits the police officer, boom, the police officer shoots him. Don't think it won't happen. Don't think it won't happen. It almost happened to Thomas Reed, and there's a whole story behind that. The whole incident should have never happened.
Well, I do have we have corresponded on email before, and I have gotten back to you in a timely manner. I'll feel free to follow up with this meeting going to the weekend to further discuss and send you some links and just start some discussion on if there's anything I can do for you or answer your concerns. I'll do it, and if it's something that I can relate to the chief, I will.
Well, I just really think we should have had a taser years ago for some cases of disorderly persons. But I think the body cam should be here tomorrow. I mean, if I had $1 million, I'd buy all the police one. But I can't make them wear it if the town council won't, if the mayor doesn't make them. The police are not going to regularly wear a body cam.
If I may, Ms. Stinson, just so you're aware, like, council can't, so we're the legislative body,
I
right?
understand.
So I would have to defer to the mayor, who's the administrative body, and he does meet with the police. And I'm sure that the mayor would be more than willing to meet with the police chief to address your needs after he's done breaking the microphone.
It's a setup.
Mayor, would you like to answer Mr.?
I would, yes.
Thank you.
Just Monday, it's interesting that you bring this up. On Monday, we met with the new CEO of Norwest Cap. Several years ago, a woman named Georgine Trinkle had written a grant for the town for over $1 million. They put a lot of cameras down in Union Square on Main Street, did some community policing, and some other enhancements to the police department. They're finished, and so we're moving on, and we have another $500,000 approximately that'll be coming our way very soon. Rob Stetner, Chief Stetner was in the meeting along with myself and Norwest Cap. There's, just to give you an idea, I don't have to tell you this, but I'll share with you, there's $30,000 for facade money from the Black Bridge to McKean Street. There's community policing money from Black Bridge to McKean Street. And there's also money for parks, trails, and recreation. As you heard from Councilman McVeigh, it is a recommended practice, there's no doubt, by the federal and state government's Attorney General's office. There could be a discussion involving Councilman McVeigh, Chief Stetner, and his staff involving body cams. I gotta be honest with you, I have not had that conversation. The conversation that I've had with Chief Stetner involved CALIA certification, and that is something that we should also do. But if you bring it up, we'll bring it up. I'm not sure what kind of response I get, but the money's there.
Well, let me tell you, I'm not going to give up. I'll be back.
No, come back.
I mean, really, I'm accountable for what I do, but I hate to say it, the police are not. And I caught some of them sleeping in their patrol cars when they should be on patrol. And no one has to tell you what goes on at the coffee club at Wawa at 1 o'clock in the morning. Every drug dealer in town knows
Ms. Stinson,
knows
we have
where
to
the cops
stay
are
on track.
not patrolling.
I understand, Ms. Stinson, but we do need to stay on track in order to make the straight
Okay,
report.
so does that mean next year you will put it in a budget for body cams?
This money comes now. This money can be spent tomorrow morning. It's
Correct.
been dedicated, as I said, to community policing and cameras in alleys because of the trash
Well, we
problems.
need cameras on the cops.
Yeah, I understand that,
Okay.
and that will be brought up during the week. I don't know how to get back to you other than contact my office, and we can give you some type of answer, the response from the chief of police. Does that make sense, Council President?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mike.
I don't think the police are gonna go for this.
Give them,
But
Thank you.
we do have to give everyone a shot. So thank you very much, Ms. Stinson. I believe Mr. Brisson is up next. What's your name and best for the record?
Emil Brisson, 94 Bullman Street in Phillipsburg. I have a couple of comments. One is I just want to again, I said this before at council meetings, I want to again reiterate that I think it's important that we maintain the Express Times as one of the papers of record. I think if you decide to do away with the Express Times as one of the newspapers of record, it will only be to the detriment of the people of Phillipsburg, since their circulation is so much higher than the Morning Call. The second comment, actually it's a question. I was looking at 2018-92, which is about the ad hoc committee, and I noticed that the resolution is for 4 members of the council to be members of the ad hoc committee, but there is an absence of Councilman Davis's name here, and I was wondering why that is. In other previous meetings, what was discussed, I thought, was that all 5 of the council members would be members of the ad hoc committee.
So I'll answer the first portion, well, the latter portion of your question, and then we'll defer to the chairman. So there's a difference between a standing committee and an ad hoc committee, right?
Right.
So a standing committee is a continual committee that meets similar to that, like the House Research Committee, right? Our local municipal charter does not provide for standing committees. So there are only meeting committees of the whole, which is this governing body. An ad hoc committee is a temporary body that is only for investigatory purposes, and it's only advisory, right? So no action can be taken. So then they come back to council and they would request subpoenas or advise of their findings. And that's just answering the latter part of your question. I would have to defer to the chairman then to answer the first part.
Thank you for your comment, Mr. Brisson. The ad hoc committee can have any number of councilmen and women on the committee. As a whole, and the genesis of the entire outlook and future investigation of this committee, it is of the opinion that the 4 members chosen are the 4 members that are 0 or to least involved in the genesis of this investigation.
So you said it was decided. Who decided that?
I did.
Okay. Was Councilman Davis afforded the opportunity to indicate whether he wanted to serve on the ad hoc committee?
I did not speak to that councilman about that.
Well, I attended I guess it was a meeting of the ad hoc committee. I forget what date it was. It was sometime last week. The 9th of May. And I know that Councilman Davis sat up there with the other 4 council persons, and seemed to be a part of the committee. I also remember that Councilman Davis raised some concerns about some issues that perhaps other people, members of the council, were not happy with. And I wonder whether the decision for him not to be involved in the ad hoc committee was related to that.
It's a very fair point, Mr. Brisson. I understand what you're saying, but you'll see as this evolves, and Council President did say that this is a moving part type of committee, and it's going to be like live television. It's going to evolve, and it's going to, unfortunately, just going to have legs. And what's going to happen is, and believe it or not, and I say this now, is that because I value my fellow councilman up here, I think it is in the best interest that he is not to serve on this committee. And that's in a genuine decision-making process on my part, because I respect the councilman.
I'm not exactly sure that I understand how it works. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bristol.
Thank you for your comment. Mr. Pierce.
Dustin Pierce, 119 Lewis Street. Sorry, I just started with college and didn't feel like dressing up. So I know it's tabled about the newspapers and everything. My big thing is, if you're gonna do away with the express times, that it be a phased out process. It not happen overnight, it happens over the next 3 to 5 years. This way it allows residents to find other means of, if they wanna subscribe to the morning call or Star Gazette, then they can. So that's that. Budget thing, Shade Tree Commission. We have this commission. Is there money in this budget? We have all these trees around town that are growing through the power lines that are not getting trimmed or having an arborist come through. If we put money in there, that was the big thing when we called, we don't have money to trim the trees. Well, then why put them? So is there a way we can get money in this budget so that something can be done with these trees? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pierce. Is there anyone else? Okay, there seeing none, we can move forward to, there are no ordinances for second reading, no ordinances for first reading. Move forward to new business, and I will ask Councilman Lutz, do you have anything?
No.
You don't? Councilman Davis?
No, sir.
Councilman McVeigh?
No, sir.
I do. Sorry, guys. I did take a few notes when I was speaking with the residents this week. First thing I had is that the building on Stockton Street that was burned down due to the arson is still standing midway. It hasn't been completely demolished. I know that the structure, when Kevin Duddy was here, he had said that it was structurally sound, and the reason we were keeping it the way that we were was because the owner wants to build on that property. My personal preference is to bring it before this body to start to move for complete demolition of the building, as it's an eyesore, and with the way the gate is, I don't think anyone can really say that kids won't go in there nor get hurt, nor adults for that matter. So I would ask if we could, I guess, perhaps motion to make a resolution, or...
What is the property address?
I don't have the property address, I just know that it's on Stockton Street.
Right, so the Kevin Duddy, the mayor, could go out and actually condemn it, and it was as a construction code official.
Owned by Joe Post. It's Joe's property.
Okay. Or the council could initiate a habitability complaint. You would need Kevin to come and testify to the conditions that exist. The first step would be to properly identify the building, notice it, run title on that property.
Okay.
Notice any interested party, property, persons have an interest in the property, and then move forward with the filing of the complaint in the hearing.
Mayor, what do you believe your success rate with Mr. Duddy would be with regard to...
The evening of the fire, Mr. Duddy had requested that I call a contractor to the site, as you may recall, to take the building down immediately.
Yes.
Because the facade did look very dangerous. It would reach to the street if it fell. And they called it off after a discussion they had. We ended up paying a vendor for just point-to-point travel. Mr. Duddy has reassured me multiple times that Mr. Proposa will take the building down to the windowsills. You probably wouldn't see it from the street and it'd be no harm. Let me talk to Mr. Duddy. If it's not too late, I'll call him tonight. And Council President, you will get an answer. But if you want to go ahead with the resolution, I would ask the attorney, could that be canceled at any time with procedures carried out?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Okay, I feel comfortable with that. If we can then make a resolution, I guess it would be a resolution for a habitability hearing at the Stockton Street building. I don't have the address yet, right? Address to be 224 Stockton Street. Contingent upon the mayor's findings with Mr. Duddy.
And there's a resolution 2018-96.
Councilman Davis, did you have something?
No.
Oh, okay. I would need a second then on that motion. Discussion.
We're 100% sure that's the address, right?
I hope so, because if not, then we're about to knock down something else.
That's my only.
It's a joke, by the way. Whatever. Okay. Okay, can I get a roll call vote, please, Vicky?
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Yes.
Council President Phillipsburg?
Yes. You can call me Councilman too, if you wish. The second one that I had was I had received an email from a member of the school district requesting permission to place signs on the properties near Chappelle Park, Walters Park, and on the intersections of Roseberry and 22, advertising for the free preschool program here in Phillipsburg. I do think that would be, I think that's advantageous as opposed to seeing like Eric buys houses or Jenny buys houses. I don't know how the rest of the body feels, but I guess they were just asking for permission whether or not they could have these signs up. I'm not even sure it's something that needs to come from council, but something that could come from the mayor. I certainly think it would be advantageous to the residents of the town, especially the parents, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
I will
Yes.
contact them and then
Thanks.
let them know that you provided permission.
Yes.
And they would like to do this moment sporadically from May through September on an annual basis. Would that be okay? Excellent. I have a question regarding the mayor's office, asking the mayor's office as to the possibility of bringing back the quarterly cleanup weeks or the biannual cleanup weeks. Is that a possibility? Too costly? And I have to be honest, the last time I saw a cleanup week, I think I was 17 or 18 years old. I really don't remember how it works, Mayor. You may know more than I do, but if it would be, again, advantageous to the residents, if we see less trash on the streets throughout the year.
Right, honestly, I do not know about the quarterly cleanup weeks. What I've been doing is if I see trash out on Roseberry on a windy day or anywhere else, I'm in touch with the youth corps and or the DPW. But if there was an established cleanup, a quarterly cleanup, we'll reinstate it. I
That would be excellent.
Make all the sense in the world. The youth corps is always willing to go out.
I appreciate it.
I'll call and follow up. Maybe Vicky knew about it?
We will follow up with Vicky, but Councilman Lutz, you do have?
Yeah, what we have now, each resident has the opportunity to call for cleanup at their property once a year,
Okay.
once a year. So if people put it out, you know, each house has the opportunity of putting garbage out once a year. And that's just like our annual thing.
Was it only annual or was it quarterly? I don't.
No, it was annual.
It was annually?
Annual.
Okay, and was there a stipulation on the amount that they could take? As of now, there was nothing. So now we have placed a stipulation, though, correct?
Yes, they fill the hopper 3 times the garbage.
Okay, so maybe we'll just investigate it and revisit it next meeting?
Yeah, Council President, I was confused. I thought you were talking about there were sweeps through town to clean up the streets. Now I understand. I do recall the major house cleanups where people could put stuff out on the curb annually, and it was for free, I believe.
Right, it was.
Town clerk, you didn't even have to register for that, did you, or?
No.
No. That I will talk to DPW about.
The problem was.
It was stopped, was it stopped for a reason?
That's a good question.
It was.
Yes.
Does anyone from the
Crowd. no.
crowd?
It was a few years ago, I remember calling when it stopped, and it was because there was a whole bunch, we had like double the garbage,
Yep.
like 2 years in a row, Vicki, because actually I think I asked you why I couldn't, why we didn't have it. It was because every year it got worse. Like we have the dumpers now that just sneak in. That's the day where they could just come in, drive through, push it on the curb. They don't have to aim, because it's lined up everywhere. They just push it in a pile, and it was like double the cleanup for the town. So that's why they went to the registration thing.
Well, all I know is that my mother used to ground me if I didn't clean out the attic once a year. I'm just saying. So, she can't ground me anymore though.
I will still follow up with DPW and send the email back.
Thank you, Mayor, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And the last one, I know Mr. Priscilla, just hold your ears real quick, but I'd like to begin investigating the possibility of implementing or investigating a rent control ordinance. The reason for that, and just the reason for that is because I've come to notice since we have passed the rental properties agreement, we're getting an influx of phone calls. That's already taken care of. We've been getting an influx of phone calls from the landlords saying now they're going to place the burden on their tenants. That's not what this was designed to do, and it's now allowing them to then further their abusive practices onto the tenants. So I would like to investigate. I know Lopakon uses it. I had asked them for their rent control. I don't know how the rest of the panel feels about it. This is all new to me as well, but from what I've read, it would lighten the burden on the tenants. So if anyone has any discussion, I'd love to hear about it because I don't know much about it.
Gina Fay has set up a meeting with Lopakon to address it. You'll be invited.
She's ahead of the curve, and I appreciate that, Mayor. Thank you. Therefore, I have no further business. It's back on me. So we can move forward then to the resolutions on the consent agenda. Does anyone on the panel have anything they wish to be removed from the consent agenda for discussion? Councilman Lutz?
No.
Councilman McVeigh?
No.
Councilman Davis?
Resolutions 92 and 93, and just as a point of information, have we included 92A in this evening's agenda?
We have not.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So 92 and 93 strike?
Yes, please.
Okay, you're welcome. I have nothing. So then we can move forward to hear Resolution 2018-92, which is a resolution of the Town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, designating members for the ad hoc committee. And since Councilman Davis had proposed, Councilman?
So I believe we need a motion and a second before we can discuss.
Second.
I will respect council's decision about the creation of this committee. I think that limiting the participation limits the legal options of it, but I'll be abstaining from this resolution. That's all.
Thank you, Councilman. Is there any further discussion regarding 92? Okay. Then Resolution 2018-92, motion to approve? We did. Yeah, we did. I'm a little bit tired and cold and roll call vote.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Councilman Davis?
Abstain.
And Council President Polk.
Yes. Resolution 2018-92, a resolution of the Town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, designating members for the ad hoc committee has passed. Resolution 2018-93, a resolution authorizing the award of a contract for professional services with Nassau Capital Advisors LLC for real estate financial advisory services. A motion?
So moved.
Second, Councilman.
Yeah, just a point of information. So my understanding of this resolution is correct. We're going to be retaining the services of this professional in order to evaluate the